Hey cats, EDDBUD here. What shoe am I going to use for the upcoming Great Bristol Half Marathon race in May 2023? I'm going to lay out my options and give you a rundown of the route and my plans for the race. Let's get to it. So it's the Great Bristol Half Marathon this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you before the race, perhaps after, and maybe even during it. If you are there, do let me know down in the comments. It would be fantastic to meet some of you. Before we get into the rundown, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications if you've not done so already. It really helps us out as well if you give this video a thumbs up, like, and share the video with your running buddies. Dankeschön. I've been lowering back the intensity of my sessions this week in preparation for the Great Bristol Half Marathon, so giving the legs a little bit of a rest really before the short hop over to Bristol on Sunday morning. It's about an hour or so from my hometown, so no great shakes really to get over to Avon ready for the start line. I did do this race back in September of 2021, probably in the best form really that I'd ever been in terms of my running and my fitness, although since then I've had numerous setbacks. Viewers of the channel will know what those are: fracture in my shoulder, COVID, another weird illness that just seemed to go away after a while, thankfully. I almost feel like I'm back to where I was round about that time, so it's a good opportunity to give this course another shot. Race has a very simple start with a minimum of turns leading out from the Millennium Square area to the Portway along a rather straight stretch which takes up about 3 miles of the whole route. Then there's a double back and you go back along the same road basically. After this you're heading back into the main city centre where you've got a multitude of turns and double backs. There's some cobblestone areas as well if I recall. You go around the Queen's Square area about mile 9, upwards towards Castle Park for miles 11 and 12, and then the final mile down Anchor Road to the finish, which will always be welcome. I think you got about 233 foot of elevation gain here on this one, so it's super flat really when you consider some of the other half marathons that I've done over recent years, and even that one back in March in Weymouth, that was quite hilly as well. There's some nasty elevation towards the end, so looking forward to doing a nice flat half marathon here. Good chance for a PR. Last time out on this one I managed 1 hour 31:48, so my best official result actually on the distance. Fortunately don't have any gigs or anything the night before this time round, so the legs are going to be nice and fresh. I can be well rested and ready for the challenge. Can't wait to give this one a second shot. I think I was 330th or something last time, around about 6 minutes 56 seconds per mile. So I need to remain focused around about mile 10. That was where the test really happened for me. Found it a little difficult to sustain the pace around then. I think there was some sort of quite long incline and that really finished me off. Need to just try and dig in there and keep to the task at hand. Weather isn't looking ideal so far. I mean, it's probably going to be dry, but a little bit warmer than what I'd want. I think it's going to be about 14°C. When I did it last time, I remember it being about 15, so I always seem to operate much better in cooler temperatures, you know, down in the sort of single figures. We may have some light winds there between 5 to 10 miles an hour from the north. They're saying a 60% chance of rain later in the afternoon, but if it decides to rain a little bit before that, I won't really be too upset. I think it's a 10:30 start for my wave, so if you see me there, say hi. Race plans as always, just keeping it really simple in the morning, some porridge and a banana perhaps. Then keeping myself hydrated on the trip up there is really important too. I'm going to be using a couple of those High Five Gel Aqua liquid pouches. They're super thin, super light. I just find them a little bit easier to open as well than those Science and Sport gels. Also they're a bit more viscous, almost like a drink I suppose really. I know they got water on the route, so I'll grab one of those and carry that around with me just so I can have a few sips here and there, or decide to dump it down the back of my neck if I get really hot. I found that orange flavour High Five gel to be a little bit more refreshing I suppose than the Science and Sport ones, so it's going to be my go-to for this race. I'm not going to be taking the big GoPro stick with me, people. I find with these races where you've got a lot more people, I know there were sort of tens of thousands last time, it just feels a little bit wrong having that. It's a highly subscribed race and I just don't want to be the guy with the big selfie stick, you know, waving it around, irritating people. I will take the GoPro, but just on the small stick. That way I can just sort of store it, you know, in my hand. Normally take one of those Hygge bands, just stick that around my hand, and that helps me hold on to the stick so I don't throw it away as I'm running around. Just kind of takes away from my focus a little bit as well, having that long stick, a little bit kind of self-conscious about it, I suppose. It's fine for taking footage on training runs, I've got no problem there, but I'll just keep to some quick cutaways for the race, just to give the viewers a feel of what's going on. So of course aiming for 6 minutes 51 seconds per mile here, though I'll need a little buffer for those twists and turns after mile 9. Shoe wise, well, it's a tough call, but I've kind of narrowed it down to 3 options really. Let's go through those. Can't really discount the VaporFly Next Percent 3 from Nike. Race-wise, I did use this at the Weymouth Half Marathon, and with good results as well. It had about 2 times the amount of elevation that we've got here on the Great Bristol Half Marathon. It felt quick, it certainly felt comfortable. Don't think I'm dead set really on the upper, certainly in the toe box. Just feels a little bit too roomy perhaps, but I have noted that since I have broken the shoe in, it's a little bit bouncier. I wouldn't suggest effortless, but it certainly feels better than it did when I first took it out of the box. So still not a dead set on the fit, but I do know it works for me over the distance. And on some tired legs as well. 1 hour 33 in Weymouth, which was pretty reasonable. So why not Bristol with some fresh legs in the VaporFly Next Percent 3? That Hoka Rocket X2 is a shoe that I've been enjoying for half marathon and full marathon pace. Soft, yet it's still got that really nice responsive feel that I like from a super shoe. I think I'm getting used to the slightly lower drop in the Rocket X2. I think it's 5mm here. It does feel like there's quite a bit more material here in the midfoot. Only issue is I haven't really got one of those longer, steadier runs in round about 12 to 14 miles yet. I like to use a shoe, you know, past the distance that I'm going to run just to see how it feels, see if the comfort's still there when you get up towards that sort of 12-mile mark. So Rocket X2 perhaps the outsider choice. Other option, of course, is the Puma DEVIATE Nitro Elite 2. Now, I do have a fresh pair of these stored away, ready if I do choose to go with it. My buddy Paul Card and I did up to 15 miles in the shoe, around about 7 minutes 53 seconds per mile pace. So I know it's going to feel good over the distance, I know it's going to work. The grip, the profile, and the weight of the shoe all kind of speak to me. And it's just kind of my style really, it just works. It's nice and nimble, it doesn't feel like you've got a huge clog on foot. So I think it's probably down to the Puma DEVIATE Nitro Elite 2 and the VaporFly 3. I'm going to take both pairs and see what feels good on the day. I know they're both going to work, the only major issue is that cobbled area. I did go in on Google Maps to have a look at that. It was a lot shorter than I remember it being, but there is some pavement around the edge which is a lot more smooth, so I'll probably aim for that. I can remember it feeling pretty uncomfortable running on those cobbles in the VaporFly Next Percent 2, so I'll make a beeline for the nice smooth pavement areas around the edge. Trying to assess the last section of that race, I've no real memory of it really. I've walked around those areas loads of times, like with my daughter when I've gone to Bristol, but I get very disorientated around that sort of area. There's loads of twists and turns. It does seem like a few of the corners, certainly towards the end, have been added in just to sort of build up the mileage a little bit. It's a shame that they can't eliminate those by adding in perhaps a slightly longer section on the portway, but I guess it is what it is. Let me know out there, viewers, whether you think I should use that VaporFly 3 or the Puma DEVIATE Nitro Elite 2 for the race. Just drop me a comment or something and let me know your reasoning, justifications. Like I said, I will take both of these and just see what feels good on the day. If you're running Bristol as well, let me know down in the comments. It would be fantastic to meet you. Musical interlude time. Finally, we get to hear the whole of the new Lemon Twigs album. It's entitled Everything Harmony. They put up quite a few tracks on preview, certainly on Apple Music at least, but now listening to the whole album, it really is quite a mishmash of different sorts of songs. There's a few tracks that sound like sort of early 90s indie, some jangly Rickenbacker guitars in there, a little bit of chorus as well. When Winter Comes Around sounds like it's been sort of lifted off like a 70s rock folk album. I love In My Head, that's one of those jangly tunes, really does fill you with the joys of summer. Still, it's not enough. Sounds like it could have been like a tune written for Elliott Smith. Some beautiful harmonies in there, very subtle acoustic guitar playing as well. My favourite though I think is Born to Be Lonely. Does sound like it could have been from some sort of rock opera, maybe some sort of stage show almost. Wonderful tunes from the Lemon Twigs. You never quite know what you're going to get, but musically it's always fantastic. Go and check it out, guys. This one's called Everything Harmony. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Do drop us a super thanks down below if you've been enjoying the content recently. It does help out. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you